So this is a think before you sleep video. I am a fan of his, and I watched his tech tone video about the court case not too long ago with you guys. This video is his newest one. It came out 6 days ago. It's called Being Ugly. It kind of caught my eye. The thumbnail has Clavicular on it, who I believe is a rising content creator, rising in fame content creator, especially with the younger crowd. I believe he's 20 years old. So yeah, we're gonna watch this video and see what he has to say about being ugly.
You know, with my wife, I've been together with my wife for 19 years, so I've known my wife at a range from, you know, like 120 pounds to almost 200 pounds. The true attraction isn't about what we look like, it's about what kind of a connection do you have with that person.
Yeah.
I don't know. It starts with initial attraction though, with looks, right? Let's be honest now. Let's be honest.
Yeah, but it's also nice when your wife isn't obese. I think we all need to be honest with ourselves here and just admit that we're all superficial when it comes to looks, and no man or woman wants to be with someone who they think is ugly. Which brings us to one of the latest internet sensations, Clavvicular.
Okay. Okay, think before you sleep. He just like laid it out. He did. He laid it out. I respect it. I respect content creators that, you know, don't sugarcoat it. So yeah, let's talk about Clavicular though.
What's going to actually get you further in life? What's going to get you opportunities in the workplace? What's going to get you, dates? It's going to be looks 100 times over, and there's really no denying that.
He's not wrong. If you want to work on the most impactful thing that will positively benefit your life in numerous ways, appearance is going to be at the top of the list. So this ideology has been going around the internet for the past few years, and it's called the black pill. Today's most successful promoter of the black pill is Braden Peters, or Clavicular, who went onto internet forums and vastly improved his looks over.
Oh, wow. I didn't know that he started like that either. Huh. Okay. Well, I mean, good for him. You know, improving his looks like that.
A few years. This is called Looksmaxxing, with an extra emphasis on the word maxing because Zoomers like to add that word to everything.
Yep.
Now, just to get this out of the way, I don't like Clavicular as a person at all. Personally, I think he's a degenerate drug addict who is modeling some pretty harmful behaviors to young people.
I agree. Actually, I agree. Everything I've seen about Clavicular lately, there's a video of him like convulsing on the floor of some club from drugs, I think. He's 20 years old. He's 20 years old. And he's surrounding himself with a bunch of whores. And he's just being extremely, like he said, think before you sleep said, degenerate. It's very trashy. You know? Damn, I feel old. That's sad. It is sad. He's just being trashy too. His Twitter videos are of him like drinking and doing drugs and being surrounded by whores, and they're dressed all trashy, and it just sucks to see, you know? I just feel like the whole like bettering yourself, trying to make yourself look better is a good message. That's a good message, you know? Lose weight, be healthy, you want to be attractive. Being attractive does get you, you know, further in life, and you get special perks to it. But when you go out and you act like a trashy retard, then it's kind of tough, you know? It's tough to listen to the messenger when they're acting like a retard, and he's ruining his life with drugs at a young age. Sad.
Online influencer named Clavicular is being charged with misdemeanor battery.
So when it comes to online influencer, Clavicula, wait, how do you say that again?
Clavicular, or Clav, is what he's also called.
Right, thanks. So when it comes to online influencer, Clavicular, I don't like him as a messenger, but me hating the messenger doesn't mean that every part of his message is incorrect. And I also can't deny that the message is resonating with people, because clearly it is based on how often he goes viral. The question is, why?
I care deeply about the struggles of the average.
Okay, but I'll be honest. Everything that I see going viral about Clavicular isn't about Looksmaxxing anymore. It's about a woman like smacking him, or girls being around him and littering on the side of the road, and him doing a bunch of like trashy stuff. Like I don't see any Looksmaxxing things anymore. I just Shooting an alligator, yes, that too. Which, by the way, I'm not gonna deny, makes me get serial killer vibes. Because I'm pretty sure it was like him and his friends went out into the bayou and he like unloaded a clip on an alligator.
He just wants to shoot something. He's itching.
It's just kind of bizarre. That's very bizarre to do. It makes me question like who he's surrounding himself with, and I feel like they're not bringing out the best. Powder got the ick from him and he deserved it. I honestly, my first impression of him was good, because my first impression of him was him in the bus with Nick Fuentes, Marion, and I think another influencer. And that's when they went to the club in Florida and they got banned from it. They got banned from the Florida club, and you know, they were singing the Kanye song and it looked like they were just like having a good time. You know what I mean? And that didn't bother me. I saw them having it was a bunch of dudes having a good time, and then they go and get banned from a Florida club because reasons. And I was like, oh, you know, I don't know this influencer all too much. It's good that he's pushing this message of bettering yourself looks wise. But then after that, it just, everything I see going viral again is just trashy stuff, and I'm mentally checking out now.
Male being unable to even find like a romantic partner, and I think that that's something that needs to be advocated for more than any political movement.
Yeah, so I think a big part of Clavicular's fame is because he's appealing to men who have been treated like shit because they've grown up being lied to about the ancient wisdom of being attractive matters. Understand that not that long ago, everyone knew this. It is so a part of the culture that C.S. Lewis wrote a children's book like 70 years ago where when people die and go to heaven, they get more attractive. I mean, they used to think that sinning made you ugly, which is basically true because people will treat you as if you have sinned if you're unattractive. So C.S. Lewis wrote a series to say, nah, they don't have uggos in heaven. And apparently, according to people in my comments, C.S. Lewis was...
Really? I did not know that. I did not know that you went to Narnia and you're hot. Only beautiful souls go to heaven. Well, Narnia, I guess you become hot. What if you become a goat man?
C.S. Lewis was even more explicit about this in his book, The Great Divorce. But understand that Clavicular is popular because he's hitting popular pain points in society pretty frequently. For example, there's a clip of him running over a guy who was blocking his Tesla, and it went viral.
Is he dead?
I don't know.
Hopefully.
Should he have done that? Probably not, but the reason that this moment resonated with a ton of people is because everyone's tired of idiots blocking the road. But outside of that, and outside of him going viral for degenerate reasons like shooting a dead alligator in Florida, the main reason that people are supporting him is because of stuff like this.
You're a content creator, you're streaming all the time. You think that if you were not physically good looking, you wouldn't have as much success?
No, I wouldn't at all.
Even if you were like a genius, like Beethoven level creative, but you were busted, you don't think you'd pop off?
Well, that's the thing. So now you have to be so well off in another category to compensate for your lack of looks that you have to be a Beethoven level player in order to compete with a guy who's, you know, just like, you know, mogging and going to the club. It really gives people a huge advantage in life to have looks on their side.
Yeah, I think it's definitely true.
Now, I'm not saying that you shouldn't build skills or a personality or be a good person. All of those things are very important, and they should never be sacrificed. However, ignoring the importance of appearance is completely retarded. You need to do what's in meta. I'll say it like this. Imagine you're playing a video game. I'll use Expedition 33 as an example because recently I was looking at the meta for this game a lot. Expedition 33 has some pretty tough bosses, and you know, you can get in there and memorize all of the attacks, do a little bit of damage at a time, and eventually you'll come out as victorious. Or you can develop a deep knowledge of how the game works, set your characters up properly, and do like 1 billion points of damage to the boss and kill it instantly.
I think in real life, yes. The looks thing comes with a lot of perks, for sure. Online, with men especially, I just don't think the expectation is there as much as it is for women. And we talked about this briefly when we were talking about VTubers, right? Where like all the top female streamers who aren't They are attractive. They are attractive. Top female streamers are attractive or appear to be attractive if they use a VTubing model, whereas all the top male content creators are average or even below average. So there's not this expectation for these male content creators to be the most Henry Cavill looking kind of guy. So internet wise, it's I would say content creator wise, it's a bit different, but overall you should want to better yourself anyway. Like you should want to look nice. I think that that's a good message regardless. You must a top 90% man to pull anything decent for online dating. Online dating's rough. You know, we watched a video on that too, like Tinder dating and how men hardly get matches and stuff like that. But it's people who are terminally online and women with inflated senses of ego who are online. If they were to take a look outside, you would see so many people that are just average or below average. Like they're just not living in reality if they're online and they are thinking that they deserve more than what they can put out or look like. Like let's be realistic. Like please, before you start being super picky, like take a mirror and look at yourself. You know, what do you have to offer? Now there's some things that like will outweigh the looks, right? Especially with men, right? You have Leonardo DiCaprio and he's like the guy, but he's what, like 55? He's the guy. He's 55. He's an older dude and he's going and dating a bunch of 20-year-olds because he's the guy, you know? So even though his looks have dwindled, he brings other things to the table that outweigh that for attractive women. Attractive women are going to be attracted to him for money, more reasons than his looks.
Looks and monging your competition into humiliation obliteration are of course a very important factor in dating. That said, all the best relationships start with chloroform.
Someone check on that guy. Excuse me? Do you know that movie called Split? Where the guy, he hops in the car and there's the three girls and he like sprays them with stuff. And the other girl like looks over and she starts crying. And I don't know why she didn't just run out of the car or anything like that. I feel like she had plenty of time to run out of the car. Whatever. Different thing to rant about, but that's exactly what I thought of when you said that. I think all the best relationships that I've seen start off as friends. When you start off as friends, because girls, I'll speak personally, oftentimes what I've found is that I will, you know, befriend someone and then over time they start becoming more and more attractive. Like their humor makes them attractive. Like you just start to notice all these little things and it outweighs some of the more like undesirable aspects of them, I guess. This is a psyop, boys. It doesn't work. I know it's tough. That's for me. I'm speaking personally for me. And I'm also the type of girl to like go after it. You know what I'm saying? Like if I want something, I will go for it. I'll just be honest. I don't like games. And I try to tell all my, you know, my female friends that, I tell my cousins that, you know, the game thing is just like so like let's weigh the pros and cons here. I am very much so like you go for it type of girl. If I have a girl coming to me and she's like super interested in her like guy best friend, then I'm like, go for it, do it, because oftentimes the guy will agree to get into a relationship. I will say there has been one case where a guy friend of mine has rejected a female friend. She kind of went crazy because of it. So I guess he dodged a bullet. But there were other factors involved, right? Like it was going to be a long distance thing. It was a country versus or it was a out of the country situation, right? 2 different countries involved, and yeah, it's you. Oh my god, No, this isn't the Texas India video where the guy is like, "Oh, my friend."
And this friend.
What the fuck?
This isn't about you. You're not the friend, right?
I'm the person.
You.
No, this isn't one of those situations. It wasn't me. It's not me. You guys are evil. God damn it. This is the last time I tell you any personal stories. Fuck you guys. But you love us. Yeah, I guess I kind of like some toxicity here and there. Spices things up a little bit. Okay, you're good fun. You're good fun.
And do like 1 billion points of damage to the boss and kill it instantly. Yes, there are many ways of getting stuff done, but if you're playing a game where your life is on the line, then why would you not use the most effective build?
If I had to date in the year of our Lord 2025, I would be very upset. I would have to learn how to Mog, I would have to learn how to Mew, I would have to learn all these skills that I don't possess.
Yeah, absolutely. And I would say that the main reason that is because of Instagram. You know, maybe you had a girl from your town who's going to try to date above her looks level, maybe just in her immediate surroundings. But now we've got people like, you know, professional athletes DMing them on Instagram, flying them out. So you're not just competing with the top chads of your 15-mile radius, you're competing with the entire world.
I'm not really sure about the whole Instagram argument. I've never seen that with regular women. However, I have seen it with social media influencers.
Yeah.
But whether the Instagram thing is actually affecting women's perception of the dating market or not, it's clear that dating apps are, just for the simple fact that it's giving you access to people that are as far away as you are willing to drive, versus in the past, you would really only date people in places that were convenient for you to regularly visit.
Right.
So your competition jumped by 5 or 10 times. And even though personally I despise dating apps and I think people shouldn't use them, that doesn't change the reality that tons of people do and tons of women do.
Yeah.
Because dating apps are like drugs for women's ego, just like porn is a drug for men's dopamine system. Really, I think porn and anime camera angles are a major contributor to the incel problem. So whether you like this reality or not, because our perceptions are all warped from porn and dating apps, everyone's got to level up, at least a little bit. It's time to return to tradition and start being more superficial about our appearances, instead of allowing like 70% of Americans to be fat slobs.
I'm
attractive. I never get hit on.
Oh no. Wee woo, wee woo, wee woo. I'm just kidding. Okay, she might be okay though. This is what is it? A yellow flag, right? An orange flag maybe? The nose ring is a red flag, but like everything else, she's cute, right? Nice hair, nice face. I kind of like her teeth being a little not perfect. Let's see. We'll give her a chance. We got to give her a chance, guys. We can't just write it off, okay?
Americans to be fat slobs.
I'm attractive. I never get hit on. Ever. And I'm a flirty girl. I'm a real flirty girl. So, like, if somebody hit on me, like, in line at the store, I'd be all about it. Nothing. I never get fucking hit on. And I don't know why.
Time to pick up
I would
the
love
slack.
for someone to give me, like, the actual genuine reason why it drives me fucking crazy. Like, hit on me.
She's really insecure now. Right? Like, I feel like she's being extremely insecure here. This is when you would step up as a woman and go and do that first, like go and find a man that you're attracted to and go hit on him. I think a lot of guys are extremely shy, and you could do it. Why not? Right?
Oh, this one's easy. Take out the nose rings and get braces. She doesn't have to change that much to
I like her teeth. I'm not gonna deny it. I do. I kind of like her teeth. They're not like gross looking, I'll say. I feel like they're like dorky looking. And I'll tell you why. It's because I keep seeing these Hollywood actresses and actors getting veneers, and they look like horses now. They like really scary teeth. It's bright white. It's perfectly straight, big, too big for their mouth. And so now I've kind of started leaning more towards people whose teeth are just their natural shape. Like, they don't have to be super straight. They don't have to be just the brightest, whitest teeth ever. As long as, you know, your hygiene is good and your health is good, then, you know, I'm more willing to let that stuff slide. I think imperfections are endearing. I think it brings more character to you. There's so many actors and actresses, yeah, that change their teeth and then it kind of makes them look scary and you're like, oh, you're not very attractive anymore. Hollywood beauty standards are just messed up. There's that saying, right? People online, I'm not ugly, I'm just poor. It's pushing the wrong message. All this Hollywood bullshit.
She doesn't have to change that much to significantly improve her appearance. And stop acting so desperate. And
Yeah.
look, I'm not saying that everyone has to chad the hell out and spend all day on Looksmaxxing forums. That's not realistic. And sorry to be mean, but no amount of internet forums is going to turn a person like this girl into a 10 anyway. But there are things that will make her look significantly better, like a different hairstyle. Look how much better that looks.
Yeah.
Second would be getting rid of the acne. I know that's a lot more difficult for women than men, but too bad. Third, like the other girl, get braces. 4, never do this makeup style again. Men hate this. Personally, I don't think men...
She has the... Oh my god. Well, now her lips look like she's gonna go, like, do something sexual. She looks like a Sabrina Carpenter. She's got that look going on. I hate the makeup. I know. The thing is, like, this is a lot of makeup, and I think that makeup should be used to enhance your natural features, not to cover up so much to where you look like a completely different person. This is definitely on the heavy side, and it appears really nice on camera, but then in person, people know. They can just tell right off the bat.
Makeup that's a lie from red pillars. For example, this woman is wearing makeup in both cases.
Imagine going live for a video, having to put on a fake face of no makeup before you put on the extra layer of real makeup.
So she's wearing makeup in both...
Also, is she afraid of her forehead? I'm not gonna lie, what I'm seeing here, it looks like she has a small forehead. So, like, what are these clips doing? You're supposed to clip up your hair to... Whatever. It's Pokimane. It's Pokimane. Period. I don't have anything else to say.
Face of no makeup before you put on the extra layer of real makeup.
So she's wearing makeup in both examples, yet one is complimented and the other is not. What men actually don't like is this style of makeup that was popular in the 2000s. And it's the same for this girl too. Men like makeup that looks like you aren't wearing makeup.
Yeah.
And last,
yeah.
going back to that prior girl and going into the next topic, I would say that she has a little bit of a double chin. If she's not fat, then I believe she can get liposuction or some sort of injection for that. Sometimes thin people have double chins, and the only way to fix that is surgery. Understand that facial aesthetics is the most important thing when it comes to physical attractiveness, so the investment might be worth it. But if she does those things, then we have a way more attractive person who will have a much easier time in life on tons of different metrics. Now, before we hit the next topic, I don't see why there's such a recoil on people trying to improve their appearances.
We've talked about maybe a neglect of the spiritual maxing, but what about even like book maxing? What?
I don't agree with it. You don't agree with the double chin thing? I don't see that often myself. I don't see skinny people having double chins. Like, I think maybe what he's talking about is the, like, when you look down and you go to look at your chest, that you get a double chin, but that's normal. That's pretty normal. I don't know. I guess I just haven't seen a skinny person with just like a natural double chin. It's only overweight people who have the double chin going on. Or you're old. Because my nana, you start to sag there when you get older. And she got a facelift, but she was like 67 or something when she decided to go do that, or like 72 or something, around that age range. 67. My bad. I didn't mean to. That was not on purpose, guys. That was not on purpose. My bad. My nana did look better after it though, but she was still my nana. Like, she still looked like an older lady. It just looked nicer. She wasn't trying to look like a 30-year-old, which I think is where a lot of women go wrong when they're older. They try to make themselves look like a 20-year-old when they're like 45, and they just end up looking like a monster.
We've talked about maybe a neglect of the spiritual maxing, but what about even like book maxing? What about even cultivating loves for art or culture or things that yet again are not exactly physical? which make you interesting and will make girls find you interesting.
I get that people can be obsessive about the way they look, and we'll talk about that. But are you going to tell me that people should channel spirituality or become a master at a skill at the sacrifice of learning something much easier, like learning what clothes to wear or how to style your hair? Note that physically attractive people tend to have more friends, so that will give you better access to learning spirituality or a skill. Hell, most things that will make you more attractive are also things that are good for your health anyway, like losing weight, building muscle, fixing your posture, getting good sleep, chewing gum, brushing and flossing your teeth and cleaning your tongue, taking care of dust, animal hair, and pollen allergies, and not using recreational drugs because those will age you. And despite all the people making fun of Clavvicular for hammering his face, which, yeah, that's retarded.
Yeah, it's pretty goofy. I'm not gonna deny it. Didn't he hurt himself real bad and had to go into the hospital for that?
But despite that, it's nice to see the strong return to form on how important attractiveness is in recent years. Probably the best example is that new One Piece series. I mean, holy shit, everyone hit the gym hard for that show.
Whoa.
Even the canonically fat girl who turns thin in the anime hit the fuck out of the gym in real life.
Whoa.
Welcome back to old Hollywood, where very few people on screen are ugly.
I'm getting a double jaw surgery in a couple weeks from now.
Oh.
So that's probably the furthest it goes, is plastic surgery.
To be clear, I think Clavicular is retarded for wanting plastic surgery. No homo, but he's already there. He doesn't need any more Looksmaxxing.
Then why are you doing that? You're a good-looking guy.
Well, you know, because I want to look better.
Look, I would get it if you looked like some mutant and you had some deformities and it was really messing up your life. But you're tall, muscular, you've got defined bone features. Why do you need to go further?
Well, you know, just because you're already doing okay or you're well off, is that a reason to quit? Is that a reason to sort of put the brakes on? That seems a little ridiculous.
Again, he's being stupid. However, that's not to say that things like pharmaceutical enhancements and plastic surgery don't vastly improve people's appearances. This picture has been going around the internet recently. A little finasteride could have saved this guy's life.
This guy, okay. Balding, again, gonna happen to a lot of guys. I think what would help a lot, though, is just the scraggly facial hair, you know? Like, get rid of that. Groom yourself a bit more.
A little finasteride could have saved this guy's life. As for plastic surgery, it's the same thing with the makeup cope. Guys don't hate plastic surgery. The same guys who will shit on plastic surgery will go goon to Instagram models with like 5 obvious BBL surgeries. What people actually don't like is bad plastic surgery. Like buccal fat removals. That shit should be outlawed. Who is...
Whoa! We just... I swear, I haven't seen this video. Like, we were just talking about this because people were showing her sneak peek of the boys on Twitter today. It was all over my feed. And so I really like that he brought this up today. I'm so glad. I'm so glad he did. Because this is exactly the problem. What do you call it? What's it called? Buccal fat?
Like, is bad plastic surgery. Like buccal fat removal.
Buccal fat. Terrible. Absolutely terrible. This jawline stuff, that's for the guys. She even actually had a nice jawline, but the thing that was charming about her was her little cheeks, like her chubby little cheeks. She looked younger. She looked youthful. She looked like the girl next door. Or maybe like the babysitter that you had a crush on when you were like 10 years old or something. She's incredibly cute. Incredibly. It's way too bad what happened. You can tell too. You can really see it here. How hollow she looks, and then the lips. I always get scared when I see a woman get lip injections because I feel like that is the start. That's the start. It starts with the lips, and then they start injecting themselves all over the place, and they start thinking about getting a boob job. And yeah, I'm just gonna be completely honest with you guys. Most white girls, if you just lose some weight, you're golden. You don't need to fuck up your face like this. Trust. Like, you already are winning by being a female. Not only that, when you lose weight, like, you're ahead of a lot of people. You're good. You're good.
That shit should be outlawed. Who is telling women that this looks good?
Yeah.
However, when it comes to things like nose surgeries from a competent surgeon, holy shit does it make a difference. Again, facial aesthetics is the most important thing when it comes to being attractive.
There was one chick where her nose was huge. huge. I can understand that. I can understand a little bit of leeway there. It makes them more like racially ambiguous though, doesn't it? When they go and they change their noses.
Again, facial aesthetics is the most important thing when it comes to being attractive. Like, I don't see why this is some sort of big spiritual crisis to want to look better. I can see why there may have been philosophy around this in the past, but in these days, we have technology that will fix tons of these issues. The only place where I would say it's a real problem is if you have a plastic surgery addiction. Plastic surgery can be addictive for some people, so you gotta know when to leave the table and cash out. Otherwise, you'll end up looking like a disgusting mess. For example, if you get so much plastic surgery that you end up looking like the Wizard Liz by the time you're 26 years old, I'll be honest, I'm going to make fun of you because
26.
I care and I don't want other people following in your footsteps. Now, as for the drugs, first, speak to a medical professional.
Young women, when they go and they get all this plastic surgery, they make themselves look so much older. You don't look 26. You look like a 35-year-old who's trying to look 26. Also, what is this title? Oh God. She's speaking from experience?
And I will say that stuff that will heavily enhance your appearance, like Accutane or finasteride, are not harmless. Accutane is for acne and finasteride is to stop hair loss. So I will say that these drugs do have side effects. I'm not going to deny that. But I think the side effects of both are vastly overstated, unless you're a woman. Sorry, Looksmaxxing for guys is much easier. But both of these drugs are decades old, they're well studied, and for the most part, they're incredibly safe if you work with a doctor and understand the limitations of the medication. I will say that if you want to weigh your options, there are probably lots of things that you do that are worse for you than Accutane.
Do you think Looksmaxxing is harder for women though? I don't know if I agree with that. Yes? Women could just make up over everything. Well, we have makeup, but then you can also do the same things that men do and you're not at risk for like losing your hair. Like for men, a lot of like their pride and their self-esteem comes from their hair, and they're looked down upon if they go and get like a toupee or something. It's more complex. Okay. Like it's like for women, it's more of a like a daily routine type of thing. That's where we're going with this. Weight loss is harder for women in general. Okay. Okay. Maybe he'll get into it some more. Let's keep watching.
I will say that if you want to weigh your options, there are probably lots of things that you do that are worse for you than Accutane. Again, I think it's stupid to ignore appearance.
You ever see young Hillary, like pictures of younger Hillary?
She wasn't too bad.
Can I say something that's going to get everyone mad? I think she actually looked pretty good, young Hillary.
Not good enough to stop Bill Clinton from cheating on her.
I'm sorry, that clip wasn't necessary. I just hate Hillary Clinton, and I thought the statement was funny. Now, as for a final point from Clav, I actually think at this moment, he was spot on.
I'm saying for young...
K.O.
I'm saying for young men to succeed, they need to put themselves in the forefront, and all the other stuff about, society, the direction it's taking, that needs to take a back seat for their individual struggle, because they're really not doing well. Men are doing worse than they ever have, and almost every metric. And the only way to overcome that is just focusing on oneself to the maximum. And there's no place for any of the stuff that, you're talking about in that mentality.
He's right. If you're 18 and your life isn't going well, then doom-scrolling politics on the internet is not going to help you. And also, your opinions for society at large aren't particularly useful if you don't have your shit together. I didn't show it, but Michael Knowles spends so much effort pushing...
I see what he's saying. I see what he's saying. Like, solve it on an individual level. And if you get enough men who solve it on an individual level, then it becomes a societal one. And then they'll get off their their fat asses and do something about how they feel about other things relating to society and politics. I see.
Back on this sentiment from Clav. However, this is exactly what Jordan Peterson was saying 10 years ago, before his daughter destroyed his reputation. If you're asking how to create political change and make society better, then understand at 18, you don't have the power to change shit. Build yourself up, learn more about the world, and then you can help turn where you live into a better place. Anyway, it's time for some nuance. I mentioned before that I really, really don't like Clavvicular. There's a number of reasons for why, but for this last part, I want to ignore most of the drama and just focus on the stuff that's in my area of expertise.
I don't really like to talk on any issues I don't have too much authority on.
Right, that's a very mature thing to say. Honestly, I don't think he's stupid. However, what I do think is that he's promoting some horrendously dangerous behaviors to a lot of people unnecessarily, not because he's a looksmaxer, but because he's a drug addict looking for an excuse to use.
Yeah, exactly what we mentioned earlier. Like all the stuff I see about him on Twitter is just trash. It's utter trash. And it's gonna fuck up his life. He's already talking about getting surgery on his face. He does drugs. He shoots animals. Like, what the fuck? He surrounds himself with whores. What is this? He's acting like those NFL players or those rappers, and you know what I'm saying. You know what I'm saying. He's just acting extremely ghetto and trashy, and I hate to see it.
You do meth.
Yeah, I haven't done meth in 2 weeks, but I do meth, yeah. Stimulants cause appetite suppressants. I'm trying to maintain my leanness, because the leaner you are, the more angular your face. And while I do use GLP-1s, sometimes that's not enough.
Do you think Clavicular is on his way to becoming the best looking lol cow? I think we'll keep an eye on him, but yes, he's already there. Shit. He's kinda there. I wouldn't say he's there just yet, but I'm getting the feeling that he's falling down that hole. I think he's on his way to becoming that. Yikes.
To suppress my appetite. So I need to, rely on stimulants.
What? I mean, you could just not be a pussy and deal with being a little bit hungry. You know you're telling your audience to follow in your footsteps, right?
I advocate against stimulants. I don't think that kids should be prescribed Adderall at the ages they are.
Yeah.
I think that people are going to misuse their stimulant prescription more than not, in more cases than not. So I'm very against it. I'm just open with everything that I do. I don't openly advocate for anyone to do this, right? I think a lot more people are going to wind up fucking themselves over, or screwing themselves over if they are to go this route, rather than, if they were to decide, to stay natural.
Oh, right. So this guy's a real philosopher. He's a real do as I say, not as I do type of guy. Gee, no one's ever thought of that before. Clav, you know that doesn't matter, right? People aren't going to listen to you saying, yeah, don't do this thing that I did that totally worked. It's bad for you. That's not how people behave. For example, you have Trainwreck out here who profited like hundreds of millions of dollars by promoting gambling on his stream. But don't worry, guys. Trainwreck said that gambling is bad for you.
Do not gamble. Do not start. Gambling is entertainment and entertainment only. You won't break even. You won't win. You won't do any of that. Do you understand? You will only go into debt and ruin your fucking life. I do this because I fucking love it. I do it all the time. It's entertainment for people who can afford it. And that's it. You will lose.
Guys, learn human psychology. If you're watching Trainwreck's stream, you're probably a gambling addict. I hate gambling, so why would I be entertained by some loser playing slots? More importantly, what gambling addict doesn't know it's bad for them? Of course they know it's bad. They can't stop, and watching people gamble triggers them to use, just like an alcoholic early in recovery gets triggered by watching people drink. I'm almost certain that Trainwreck just said that to cover his ass, and not because he genuinely has empathy for addicts. Though, honestly, if addicts are going to do stupid shit, that's their choice, I guess. I really don't have a lot of sympathy for people who are choosing to continue their pathological behaviors. But outside of that, what Clavvicular is actually doing here is giving meth heads a justification for using.
If you say don't do what I'm doing, why are you doing it?
Because I have enough willpower to be able to taper off of meth.
You're going to tell me that you don't have enough willpower to deal with a little bit of hunger, but you do have enough willpower to taper off addictive drugs? This is ridiculous cope. Every addict says, but I can control it when they do drugs. And actually, because he's young right now, he probably is able to limit his intake, but it won't always be like that.
Your social experience in school, though, how was that?
What age range are we talking about?
I guess like right around 13, 14 is what I'm thinking.
Well, that would have been during the pandemic, so I was in online school.
Wow, I did not realize how young 19 was until he said he was like 14 during COVID. He also started taking testosterone around that time that he bought off the...
Does anyone feel old after that? Ouch. Kind of forgot about that. I kind of forgot about COVID, to be honest.
It's such a slippery slope with drugs. ... Have a guy in our DND party who is trying to get us all to do cocaine with him next session.
What? If you have a bad gut feeling, don't do it. You know, don't do it. But, you know, my dad, he's a pretty good guy. He's done every single drug out there except for meth. That was where he drew the line. I would say he turned out okay. I would recommend against doing it, but I don't know. I'm a bit more forgiving, I suppose. Just don't lose yourself in it. You should shame your friend, actually. You should say, like, dude, I'm really not into that. Did he do crocodile? I don't even know if crocodile was like a thing when he was younger. My dad, okay, I'll tell you about my dad. When my dad was younger, my dad was really into the punk stuff, the punk scene. And so he like pierced his own nipple, shaved his head, except for like one string of hair, which hung right in between his eyes and to his nose. He would like couch hop from friend to friend. Him and my uncle, my uncle was the errand boy. He was the nerdy boy who got bullied into running errands for all the cool kids, right? And so they sent my uncle off to go pick up some pizzas and beer. He went and got the beer and then proceeded to hit a cyclist. He gave the cyclist beer as an apology, and they just shook it off, and he came back. So what I'm trying to say is that my dad has done some questionable things in his youth, but he turned out okay. He tried things once, understood the repercussions of if he were to become addicted to things like that. So, you know, just if you feel it in your gut that you shouldn't do something and that you don't have the willpower to stop doing it, don't do it, right? Don't do it. But I understand that peer pressure is a huge factor in these things. Just, you know, have fun with your friends. Be safe. Make sure you're surrounded by people that care about you and will take care of you at the end of the day. I sympathize with Clav because young white men like him had to grow up in BS. I think this is an interesting case study, I guess you could say, right? I mean, we're watching someone who went through, he's young and in the system and he's becoming an influencer. Well, he is an influencer, but he's growing in popularity, and we'll see if it chews him up and spits him out or if he pushes through. I think it's interesting to watch. I just don't like, again, what I see so far. I think promoting men, you know, getting healthier and working on their trying to become more attractive, that's totally fine. That's totally fine. But it's just the way he's going about it, I don't like. You have a good feeling about him? You do? All right, well, I hope you're right. I do. I really do. I don't want him to crash and burn, by the way. I don't want that. I guess if he were to crash and burn, maybe, you know, hitting rock bottom will propel him to change some of his behaviors. But I don't want that. I don't want that for him. I just don't think he's pushing a strong enough message. I don't think he's going about it the right way. He's playing the system, but he's playing the game. He's playing the game. I don't feel like he's pushing back enough himself. Like, he's preaching it, but he's not living it enough, in my opinion.
Wow, I did not realize how young 19 was until he said he was like 14 during COVID. He also started taking testosterone around that time that he bought off the internet, so he might have been a victim of the Keffel-sponsored drug trafficking website for transgender kids. Also, Keffels never went to prison for that. I believe nobody got in trouble for it. By the way, this guy goes on testosterone for 5 years for the extreme glory of being able to bench 135 pounds.
Get it, 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 get it. No. There you go. Almost. Fuck. Was that
For context, this was clipped for Twitter out of context to make him look worse, but I believe he benched it 7 times, not twice. Still, holy shit, you are really weak for a guy who's on steroids. I mean, Mumdani is not that far behind you. It doesn't take that much work for a guy to bench over 135 without steroids.
Well, I don't know. I kind of get what he's saying. I get it with the steroid argument, but at least he's working out, right? You gotta start somewhere, right? It took me a while with just the bar, you know? The bar is 45 pounds. You know? It's like half my weight. So, you gotta start somewhere. I'm also a woman. Yeah, that's true. I know.
No possible way he is taking proper test and can't do 135. No way.
No way. Some people just, they're not lifters. They don't.
I do want to tangent on this for a second because some guys think they need to gym cell for like 2 hours a day to build muscle. That's not necessary. For one, from a Looksmaxxing perspective, most women hate the super muscular look. Second, you can get a pretty nice physique and lift pretty heavy amounts of weight after some time by doing a total body workout with 2 sets of 6 to 8 reps per exercise with a 1 to 2 minute break in between.
Okay. Think before your sleep knows some things, I suppose. Okay, all right. Write that down.
And be in and out of the gym in around 30 minutes, depending on how crowded it is. Do it 3 times a week. And this will build your muscle at least until you are maximally attractive to women. So this is not horrendous amounts of work, and unless lifting weights is an extreme hobby of yours, you should not be doing these crazy long workouts. There needs to be less discussion of what Mr. Olympia is doing and more discussion about what the most time-efficient thing to do is, especially for people who are nowhere near their genetic potential. You can get away with a lot if you aren't close to maxing out. But also, believe it or not, these are not the only drugs that Clav uses. And of course, he's got a moral cope for it.
I don't really think that people should be drinking and doing recreationally for the most part. And I know that would appear super hypocritical because I do it a good amount, but it's just something that I utilize for my work, for my content, because I can't really function around people too well or be super entertaining in my sober state, I think.
Using drugs to manage emotions is key behavior of addicts. That's like the #1 reason that people can't quit drugs. Let me just go on another self-improvement tangent here because a lot of kids who are in school during COVID, like Clavvicular was, have extreme levels of social anxiety, and you do not need drugs to solve this problem. You need meditation. And what I mean by that is that to get rid of any anxiety issues, all you have to do is learn how to bring your mind away from whatever thoughts are causing you the anxiety. If you can distract yourself with something else and stay focused on that for an extended period of time, the anxiety will go away, and when you get good at that, you will no longer have anxiety issues. Anxiety is actually an incredibly simple problem to solve. Maybe delete TikTok off your phone if you want to learn how to maintain focus for long periods of time. But like I said, make no mistake, Clav is an intense drug addict, and he is just coping.
The worst time I got exposed for my .org threads is I used to document literally everything I did back in 2024 at work. And someone sent all my .org threads to one of my managers about me being drunk pretty much every single day, me constantly being high on blow at work all the time, just outlining all my degeneracies, how I was basically slaying. The thing is, I was so good at my job.
Did he just say slaying?
Yes, queen.
What the fuck?
That I could do that. I could get away with being drunk literally every day.
Right, so he was frequently doing drugs, but he was able to do them at work, so I'll wait for him to call himself a functional addict. But I think you guys get my point. My primary issue is not the Looksmaxxing ideology that made him popular. It's the fact that he's choosing incredibly short-term and dangerous solutions to his problems and then promoting them to tons of people. And worse, he's doing those things to achieve success and results that he could easily achieve naturally. Because the reality is that becoming successful is the part that's simple, especially in terms of social media. Lots of people go viral and then flame out minutes later like the Hawktua chick. The hard part is sustained success. The hard part is taking these little victories and turning them into a 10 or a 20-year career or longer. But everything Clavvicular is doing is short-term.
I want to see a redemption arc. I want to see a Clavvicular redemption arc. It's tough, though, because he's just surrounding himself with such shit people. It's killing me.
What I mean by that is that the odds of him having a catastrophic downfall or the odds of him experiencing heavy complications from drug addiction is very high.
Yeah.
The way you actually sustain success and not become one of those losers who eventually blames the algorithm for low views the minute that people start getting bored of them is to take the long route that is slow and boring, but provided that you take the time to learn and understand the principles of success in your market, it will result in explosive growth once you've paid your dues. A decent book that lists a lot of the principles of sustained success, it's called Good to Great. You'll do a lot better listening to people who have been successful for a while than to listen to someone whose game plan is to take a bunch of chemicals that are very likely to destroy your life with addiction or cause you to die young from an overdose. Anyway, thanks for watching. Follow me on Twitter, and I'll see you in the next video.
Thank you for the video. That was a good video. I'm glad. Glad he talked about the pros and the cons. I feel like he gives a very fair outlook on these things. I like listening to him. Someone called him AI earlier. He's not AI, as far as I'm aware. He just talks like that. He's very monotone. Doesn't sound super emotional like I do. But yeah, hope you guys like that video. I guess Clavvicular is just someone to keep an eye on, you know, someone to watch. He is a very successful content creator, and he is this, you know, for younger people, they're looking at him and being influenced by him. So, a little bit of a scary thought though. I also am new to the content creation space, so I haven't really seen someone who has started good and then got really bad. I haven't really watched someone's journey like that, where they've started good with a lot of popularity and influence in the content creator space, in the streamer space, and then they just like hit rock bottom and disappeared. In regards to male content creators, I can't think of anyone off the top of my head. What I have seen is people like PewDiePie or like Markiplier, where they start off just like really nerdy and timid, and then they win in the end. To me, this is a very interesting thing to observe, is to watch someone start so high and then sink. Like I feel like he's on the downfall right now, and I'm watching his downward trend. Like he's becoming like lolcow material. Like I said, he might be the most attractive lolcow. I've been learning a lot about lolcows. Where's my Powdur lolcow arc? Well, let's hope that never happens. And you have to actually fall to be a lolcow. I feel like he's on the downward trend though. Like I do. I feel like he started so high up, and now because of his behavior, he's like going down, down, down. Like, people are going to start hating him more than liking what he's pushing or his messaging. We'll see. I'll keep an eye on it.